All right, welcome to the next episode of Voice AI podcast, where we discuss the future of voice AI. Today, I'm super excited to host Dave Erickson, who is the CEO and founder of CarrierX. Welcome, Dave.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, so as always, I'm gonna do a short summary of CarrierX. So CarrierX is a holding company actually that has several voice companies underneath. So and CarrierX as a communication platform as a service, so CPaaS and API provider based out of California. They offer scalable voice, video, and messaging solutions for enterprise applications, operating their own network to provide career level control. Their services power over 2 billion monthly minutes, partnering with clients like Umail and RoboKiller. How was that? Was for CarrierX in particular, was that spot on? That was ChatGPT, or should it do a better job?
Yeah, I think that you know probably the thing that we see in Carrier X is that we're very cutting edge and we take risk in areas to try and improve telecom. So I love the telephone numbering system. I think it's like the greatest addressing system in the world. There's 6.5 billion people that have telephone numbers, and Carrier X is setting out to do things that basically will happen in our lifetime. I believe there's changes that are going to be made to the phone network and our communication network that are going to happen in our lifetime. And I'm trying really hard to bring those things to fruition. And so that's kind of the mission behind Carrier X. And we have a lot of really neat assets. Probably the biggest thing that we've done in Carrier X is the creation of high definition voice. And high definition voice, the quality of the phone system hasn't changed since Alexander Graham Bell. And so I look at like it will change in our lifetime. I'm carrying a phone around that has a really high definition microphone, has great speakers, can play high fidelity music. Why am I talking to other people in this little eight-bit sample, 8,000 times a second, the 64K? And so what we did, we created a company called HD Carrier. This was 16 years ago. And we started out to connect with the carriers in a different way. And we did. We created a connection from cell phones in AMR wideband, which is how the cell phone talks to the tower. And it's a higher quality than what we have on the phone system. And so we intercepted it there. We kept it in AMR wideband. We normalize it because it's not perfectly suited for the VoIP network at that point. And we normalized it and we put it forward. So everything we do now is in high definition voice, and it's 16 by 16. It's 256K compared to 64K. And so that's the underlying kind of voice quality of the Carrier X network. It's different than every other carrier in the country at this point in time. And we serve to and from and 370 million phone numbers in this country in HD. And so that's something that, like, with the AI coming in, AI, it appreciates HD voice much better than it does standard definition. And you'll also see that, like, the standard definition carriers will have 7, 8 carriers in a single phone call as it goes through least cost routing. We're zero hop on net. And so it's all about call quality with us. And so that's the underlying catalyst for everything that happens in Carrier X is a higher quality voice thread with the phone numbers you talk to.
Yeah, I've a lot of questions now, Dave. Thanks for the deeper context, right? I think
Yeah.
ChatGPT is not that smart. Uh, so so does that mean, like, by the way, I used to work at Twilio, and I know that Twilio has been using a lot of like networks, like to buy numbers and do like cheaper routes and so on, right? So I have a bit familiarity with the topic. So, but if if I were to buy a phone number from HD carrier, uh, you will guarantee that this like the all the sort of all the calls are going to be HD, the voice is going to be HD. What if the caller to that phone number like is not using an HD route? Like it's
Yeah,
going to
so
go
the
great.
the phone numbers we can talk to in HD are every single wireless phone number on AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. And they're all very capable of sending a high definition signal to us and us sending one back to them. And so most all of the calls are done on those wireless networks, right? They're done on those wireless networks with a call center from, my cell phone to somebody's AI character. All the calling I do all day long is almost all from my phone, and then fortunately for me, the online or application based calling I do on Phound, which is an HD carrier as well, and works with all those numbers in HD. So I'm pretty much probably 98% of the calls I do are in high definition, and uh, that's a big deal. That's a big change, and that happened just this year.
It is a big change. Like I remember when at Crisp we wanted to create a technology that turns like non-HD voice to HD voice, like with AI, right? And we were like, okay, this seems like an interesting problem. It's not easy to solve, but at some point, like the world is going to solve this through just the bandwidth of the network, right? Should we really focus on this? And I know that telcos have been trying to do this for a long time, but it's still not the case. And you guys are doing that. That's fascinating. So, Dave, another question, like you said that AI is very sort of receptive to HD voice, right? Um, does it mean like one angle I can think about is that transcription, let's say speech to text, will work better if the quality of the audio is better. Is that something you guys see? Is that what he meant, or there is something more to this?
Yeah, the transcription is one element of it. Another element of it is things like sentiment. These other uh, kind of sensing of the human being technologies that go on. It's much easier for AI to do that with a high definition signal um, than it is with what they call standard definition. The biggest problem with today's standard definition is that it's such an open and competitive network. The other day we had a fraud call and we did a trace back, and there was 7 carriers involved in the single call. And that means it transfers hands 7 times and it goes through different equipment, different, potentially codecs. And so each time it adds latency, quality degradation, and all these kind of things. And so what we're doing is we're moving all the way to the carriers networks and we're performing zero hop. And so even if we were just doing standard definition, it would be way better standard definition because all of the noise and everything
Hmm.
that comes from those 7 different carriers and whatever's happening in today's, open wholesale telecom market is, not really good for AI. Right? AI is like listening, better than a human has been listening. Right? It gets much more out of the call. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like all these different codecs and transformations that audio goes through has is going to have impact on the processing side of AI because oftentimes the AI just simply didn't see these transformations in its training data, and we know like firsthand that when you feed something that it just didn't see before, it has this. Uh, it has this impact on the quality. But this is amazing actually. So is the vision of the company to expand this network and make more and more people and companies join it and use HD voice? Is that the idea? Like,
Yeah. I'm kind of, I really love telephone, and I love the idea that there's this really great addressing network. You know, everybody has a phone number, and it's organized by country, region, carrier, and like the next best addressing system. I don't know what it is, right? It's maybe IP address, or your home address, or their phone number's global, and it's really nice. But what's happened to the phone network over since it was created is we've had like a serious erosion of trust also, right? And this is very important for like the future of AI and just the future of communicating, right? You've got all these, because it's open access, you have robo dialers and spam texters. The caller ID on the old phone network, right, is not really an ID. It's so easily spoofed. It's almost like, very, shady information. You can't trust caller ID. And then now with AI, you have, the possibility of like these deep fakes, these voice deep fakes and things like that. And because of all of that, the greatest addressing system in the world is kind of fraught with fraud. And this really cool address that I have, I don't want to list it, put it in a phone book, put it anywhere, because it's actually a weakness of mine, right? The best address I have has become like a weakness, and that's what I set out to change. I want to change all of that. I want to make it higher quality, but I also want to make it more trustworthy, and so that people, instead of having one phone number and not liking it, because people can get to them, I picture people in the future having, 5 or 6 phone numbers.
Yeah, and like I used to do a lot of cryptography and security in the past. Uh, are there actually protocols uh, to bind some cryptography to phone numbers and make sure that spoofing is very, very difficult or impossible? Like, is that something that you guys have uh, worked on and envisioned, or like the trust part must come from somewhere else? Like, what's the vision?
Yeah, so we have a company called Phound, and the idea of Phound is the idea of a phone directory, right? And so it's the mixture of phone and being found, and we spell it Phound. Uh, and what we do there is we create a self-managed contact card. And so any phone number, anywhere, any country, you can go to Phound and you can build a contact card that is based on your phone number. And it's going to authenticate with you so that we know that it's your phone number. And then you make this contact card. You can put a picture up, you can put a bio, you can put hashtags, you can put links to things, you can put other pictures, you can, add other contacts to it. So you can build what's basically like a visual space with the address as your phone number, right? And then that card works as a form of caller ID because it's been put up by you. You can attach your ID to it. So you can, through our integration with Stripe, you're able to say, hey, this is my driver's license, and then you get a blue check, right? And so if I look at your card on Found and you have a blue check, then I know that you've actually put in one of 4,000 government IDs worldwide to receive that blue check. And by looking at that blue check, I can actually see what your real name is. So I can still be, Dave, super fun, guru of good times with a blue check. And then you can say, okay, so this is Dave Erickson. He's a real person. And basically someone's ultimately responsible for what happens at the number through that blue check. It would be subpoenable or trackable and all of that. And so what we saw is there's a really big problem with Android and Apple having our contacts because they do a really antiquated old job of it. It's basically just digital storage. They're trying to cloud, but they don't cloud with each other. And so, these contacts that we have are kind of stuck on our phone. And if I change my phone number, your contact on your phone doesn't change. And so It's really time that we get contacts to a self-managed state in the cloud where you go and you like search for people and collect, or you like sync your address book to like find people. And then what we did is we integrated that contact card with the carrier, our carrier, but we're looking to integrate with other carriers. And so if you go to my contact card, you actually have to ask for permission to talk to me, just like you do on Instagram or whatever. And by doing this, no one can get to me, right? If you call me, it says this guy's protected by Phound, search for his number and ask him for permission to talk to him or text him, right? And then I can decide at that point which features I want to give you. If I want to give you video calling, voice calling, chat, meetings, you know, information at my contact card. And so it's kind of changing the game. And this is one of the things that I see. This is how it will be in my lifetime, whether I'm the guy that ushers that technology in or I'm the guy that gives someone else the idea to do it. I think it's the only way that it can be done. It's not a matter of who created that way. It's just that combination protects us better than what we're doing in today's, public switch telephone network.
Very cool. I think that's a very cool idea. It's like WhatsApp, but works on the carrier level rather than data, right? And hence provides better voice quality because of the HD part of it and because of connectivity, like better connectivity than you would get over data. Do you agree with that sort of summary? Because WhatsApp has
Yeah.
some elements already, right? But uh, but like nothing like a blue check on Twitter or LinkedIn exists for the phone number. And if you can make that happen, I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that.
Yeah, it's definitely a new idea to people. I think it's a good idea. But you do have a critical mass, or like what I would consider like a cold start problem. You have to start convincing, and it works really good in what we call a closed community, right? So um, this contact card idea inside enterprise creates a directory inside an enterprise, creates a closed calling community, keeps all robocalls, outside things, and there's a lot of companies where you'll see a guy's got two phones, he's got his personal phone and then he's got the company phone.
Mm.
And so Phound allows you to put the company phone over the personal phone without using that underlying phone number or any of the person's personal things, and then works on the Wi-Fi at work. It's really nice.
Very cool. Cool. Dave, are there areas that where you invest in, recent like Gen AI or like AI agents? Do they are they in the roadmap of the company?
Yeah, so I've made some personal investments into AI. I've invested into a company called In-Store AI, which is it's basically like a mic at the cash register that controls or records the conversation of the cashier for quality management and everything, and then gives information from the purchasers for the different companies that own the different SKUs or doing promotions. It's very nice. But as far as a communication company goes, right, we've drawn a really bright line for us, and it's that we are an enabler. And so, when things in the marketplace change, and like this deep seek came out, and it like shook everything up, and everybody was like, "Holy Christmas! Everything's changed, and it's so much cheaper." And what does this mean for the thing? That's why we're an enabler, right? We look at it like, well, let's see who wins, and then use the best one. And my goal is that all of these things that we were talking about in the beginning of the call, of sort of the erosion of trust in the phone numbering system, I know for fact that AI is going to rely on the phone numbering system because it is the best addressing system we have. So if it does, right, there's a way to introduce AI into these new kind of ways that we're working the phone numbering system to bring along security, right, identity, quality, and kind of be a man in the middle for these people that want to see the higher quality communication, want to see the privacy, the trust, the verification. All these things are going to be really important. If some bank has AI reaching out to me, I want it. I think AI is very, very useful and very, very helpful, and is going to be convenient for me. Very informative, right? But how is it going to contact me? And when it contacts me, how am I going to know that it's that bank? And so I think we have different security systems out there, ID verification systems and things. And I think these need to be woven in kind of an open marketplace style rather than all proprietary, you know, kind of network. And so we're working on that, and it's coming along well. And I think that that's something that as we get down the road with AI and we start implementing it, uh, stuff like our current caller ID is not going to be good enough.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we don't do anything with the like the caller ID system, the it's going to impact the trust even more because there are now so many AI agents that are ready to call everyone and sell stuff and market stuff, right? But I do imagine that in the vision that you described, where a user or found users or people who use that system can at least say like what kind of calls do I want to receive, right? And you can use your language to describe that. And when the AI agent calls in, we can question and say automatically, not the person, but the AI can question and say, what's the point of you calling? Like, does it meet the expectation of this person, right? Is it from the bank? Okay, I'm gonna let you in. If not, bye bye. So like you can have more control, like a firewall on caller ID, right?
Yeah, and I think the idea, with Found is how are you going to find these different AI services, right? And I was talking to a young lady that wants she's a hypnotherapist, and she wants to see if she can train AI to do sort of a base level so that she can give a very cost effective taste of how hypnotherapy might help. And it's like, so if she does this, how does she get found? And that's kind of the idea that I think AI is going to be so useful by so many people that we're actually going to need directories of like actually verified providers, right? So that we're not getting, fraudulent deep fakes of other, helpful AI that, is infiltrates our life and does odd things. And so being able to search for different things in AI, being able to find them, being able to see that they're verified, and then being able to like communicate with that AI is sort of the basis of Found. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that vision. I think it's very unique. I talk to a lot of people in the voice AI space. I think this is the first time that someone is so profoundly, you know, liking the the existing phone system, right? The address, like that makes so much sense, right? Like how the phone number system has been designed, uh, like so many years ago, and still is very logical. Like if you look at other systems, they use just handles, uh, and there is no logic in it. It's just like where people make up. But like, and then you say like, how do we preserve this system? How do we make it better? What's like the phone number 2.0 uh, that that will play well with the AI? Yeah, thanks for
It's
sharing that. Yeah,
it's interesting. My grandmother was a Bell operator, and she had a phone in her house that had a crank on the side. And she explained to me, because I love cranking that crank, right? Like how the whole phone system worked when she was an operator. And she was sitting in the middle, and I would ring, her, and she would ring you and say, Dave wants to talk to you. And you'd say, yeah. And then she'd plug the plugs together and put us together. but she was actually an identifier of trust, right?
Yeah,
Like, hey,
exactly.
I know this is coming from Dave. I know Dave. I talked to Dave. It's definitely Dave, you know. And I'm reaching out to you, and I'm facilitating this, and that's kind of what Phound does, is a
Wow.
trusted facilitation of two calls.
Yeah, and when you put AI in there to just use natural language to do the identification even better, that's totally doable soon. I wouldn't say like immediately now, but very soon that's gonna be possible. Yeah, I love that vision, Dave. Thanks so much for sharing it with me and with the audience. And thanks so much
Great.
for coming today.
Well, I really appreciate being on, and love working with you guys, and so I appreciate it.